The Velarath Prime was dying. Captain Zyrex Thorne stood at the bridge viewport and watched his ship bleed atmosphere from a hole fracture the size of a Terran school bus. 3 of his 7 engine cores were cold. The navigation array was running on backup crystals that should have been replaced 2 solar cycles ago. His crew of 42 was alive, barely, and the nearest Galactic Coalition repair dock was 11 light-years away. Earth was 4 hours behind them. He hadn't wanted to stop at Earth. No serious captain did. The third planet of the Sol system had only been in contact with the greater galactic community for 31 years, which made it a toddler by interstellar standards. Its species, Homo sapiens, the bipedal mammals who'd somehow figured out nuclear fission before they figured out planetary cooperation, were considered a curiosity at best and a liability at worst. The Coalition had even issued a formal advisory, Earth, primitive biosphere. Recommend bypass unless emergency. This was an emergency. Open a channel, Zyrex said, his translator implant already priming for English. And someone tell me what the human distress protocol looks like. His communications officer, Lissa, pulled it up on her display and immediately looked confused. Sir, they have multiple emergency frequencies. Over 100. Sorted by type of emergency. Pick the most relevant one. I'm trying, but they have one specifically for spacecraft in distress and another for spacecraft in distress but crew is okay and another for. Any of them, Zyrex said. The response came in 47 seconds, faster than any Coalition station Zyrex had ever hailed. Unidentified vessel, this is Houston Deep Space Reception. We've got you on long-range scan. You're leaking drive plasma and losing altitude. What do you need? The voice was calm. Almost annoyingly calm. Zyrex keyed the channel. This is Captain Zyrex Thorne of the Galactic Coalition vessel Velarath Prime. We require emergency docking access and structural repair services. We will compensate according to Coalition standard rates. Copy that, Captain. We're sending coordinates for Pad 7 at the Mojave International Starport. Do you need a tow assist? We are a 340-meter cruiser. Yeah, we've got a tow rig for that. She'll match your approach vector. Just don't fight her, our pilots get competitive. Zyrex looked at Lissa. Lissa shrugged. The tow rig, a squat, heavily modified cargo hauler that had no business being as fast as it was, caught them in 40 minutes and walked the Velarath Prime into Mojave's Pad 7 like it parked damaged alien warships every Tuesday. It turned out, for Pad 7, it was every Tuesday. The moment the docking clamps locked, the bay doors opened and a stream of humans in bright orange jumpsuits poured out across the deck like organized chaos, scanners out, checklists in hand. Voices overlapping in rapid English that Zyrex's translator struggled to keep up with. One human separated from the pack and walked directly to the base of the Velarath Prime's access ramp. He was tall for his species, with close-cropped dark hair and a jaw that looked like it had been arguing with the universe since birth. His jumpsuit had a patch on the shoulder, an anchor overlaid with a circuit board, the logo of Earth's Deep Space Engineering Corps. He looked up at the hull fracture, made a sound that Zyrex's translator rendered as "oh, that's mean," and then looked directly at Zyrex as the captain descended the ramp. Chief Engineer Ethan Cross, the human said, extending a hand. Earth Systems Specialist. I'm going to be your point of contact while we fix your ship. You got any structural schematics you can share, or do you want us to scan her ourselves? Zyrex stared at the extended hand. He'd read about human greeting rituals. He shook it carefully. Schematics, he said. But I must inform you, the Velarath Prime runs on Velarite 7 drive architecture. It is unlikely your team has experience with. We reverse-engineered a Velarite 6 engine last year after a Drox freighter left one behind. Ethan was already walking toward the hull fracture, tablet in hand, eyes scanning. 7 should be an upgrade. We'll figure it out. He paused, glanced back. You want coffee while we work? We brewed a fresh pot. Zyrex did not know what coffee was. He said yes anyway. This would turn out to be one of the most consequential decisions of his life. What was supposed to be a 3-day repair became 8 days. Not because the humans were slow, they were terrifyingly fast. Ethan Cross had a team of 22 engineers who worked in rotating 6-hour shifts, slept in cots they dragged into the hangar, and communicated in a blend of technical jargon, hand signals, and what appeared to be purely theatrical arguing that somehow always ended in results. It took longer because Ethan Cross couldn't stop improving things. "Your coolant routing is inefficient," he told Zyrex on day 2. "You're losing about 18% thermal capacity on the secondary loop. I can fix it while we're in there." 40 minutes. "That design was certified by the Coalition Engineering Directorate," Zyrex said. "Cool. My redesign will be better. You want the 40 minutes or not?" On day 4, he rewired the navigation array using a hybrid Terran-Velarite signal architecture that, according to Ethan, would cut response lag by a factor of 3. Zyrex's navigator nearly wept. On day 6, Ethan appeared on the bridge with 2 steaming cups and a look that Zyrex had come to recognize as "I've done something you didn't ask for." "Your point defense grid," Ethan began. "What about it?" "It's reactive. Waits for a targeting lock before it fires." He handed Zyrex one of the cups. "We use a predictive intercept model on our orbital defense platforms. I adapted it for your grid architecture. It now fires on projected trajectory instead of confirmed lock. Response time goes from 0.8 seconds to 0.2. Zyrex stared at him. "You modified our weapons systems." "Technically, I enhanced your weapons systems." Ethan sipped his coffee. "There's a difference. You should have asked." "I know." He didn't look remotely sorry. "You would have said no," I would have argued, "we would have lost 6 hours, and you'd still have a 0.8-second response grid when you left. This way you've had it running for 12 hours and your gunnery officer already loves it." He nodded toward the gunnery station. Ensign Vrex was, in fact, running simulations with an expression of barely contained joy. Zyrex drank his coffee. It tasted like burned darkness and somehow it was the best thing he'd ever consumed. He said nothing about the weapons grid. On day 8, the Velarath Prime was whole, and more than whole. She was faster. Her sensors ran 40% cleaner. Her engine cores had been recalibrated using a technique Ethan called bleeding edge, but we've tested it twice, and her hull fracture had been sealed with a composite Terran-Velarite alloy that Ethan claimed was stronger than the original plating. Zyrex stood at the viewport again. His ship looked the same from outside. Inside, she felt like she'd been reborn. "Coalition standard rate," Ethan said, handing over a data chip with the billing invoice. "My boss said to charge you Coalition premium for the weapons upgrade, but I told him you didn't technically authorize it, so legally we can't bill for unauthorized work." He shrugged. "Sorry about that." Zyrex looked at the invoice. It was less than he had expected. Significantly less. "This is below standard rate," Zyrex said. "We knocked off 15% because we learned 3 new things from your drive core. Fair trade." Zyrex looked at him for a long moment. "Chief Engineer Cross. I have traveled to 47 inhabited systems. I have worked with Coalition repair stations on 9 different worlds. In 30 years of command, I have never encountered engineers like yours." Ethan smiled. It was a human expression Zyrex had learned to read, not pride exactly, but something fiercer. Satisfaction with edges on it. "We're motivated," Ethan said simply. "By what?" "We've been told our whole lives we're behind. That we're primitive. That we're babies in this galaxy." The smile didn't leave his face, but it changed. Got sharper. "We intend to make that embarrassing for everyone who said it." 3 weeks later, The Velarath Prime intercepted a Scrath Raider squadron near the outer belt of Crucian 7. The engagement lasted 9 minutes. The Scrath had expected an easy target, a mid-class coalition cruiser, alone, running light. They found something else. The point defense grid shredded their opening volley before it got within 800 meters. The recalibrated engines let Zyrex maneuver in ways his crew didn't know their ship could move. The sensor array painted firing solutions so clean that his gunnery officer, Ensign Vrex, who had spent 3 days playing with Ethan's simulations, was almost bored. Almost. The Scrath squadron retreated with 4 ships damaged and 1 destroyed. In his after-action report to Coalition Command, Zyrex wrote, "The enhanced systems performed beyond specification. Credit belongs to Earth and Mojave Station, specifically Chief Engineer Ethan Cross and his team." He attached Ethan's contact information. He also attached a purchase order for 200 units of ground coffee, the dark roast, which Ethan had labeled the one that actually works. Coalition Command flagged the coffee order as a non-standard requisition. Zyrex approved it personally. Some things, he had decided, were worth the paperwork.